Hey guys. So this is gonna be me painting a little bit. Uh, by no means a tutorial or anything. But mostly it's gonna be me talking about stuff. Kind of keep myself motivated to paint through all this stuff and yeah, do kind of a blog kind of thing. Um, right now off camera, I'm kind of sorting some cards because they're all messed up since I've been playing a little bit, and it's one of the reasons I thought I'd do a blog is a lot of the initial assessments I have. Think I kind of want to revisit some of those. Um, some things I was confirmed in, and some things I was not confirmed in. I feel obviously it's still early days. Still way early days. I haven't tried all the units yet. I haven't tried nearly all the characters yet. I haven't tried all the commanders yet, but yeah, some initial impressions while I just paint a little bit, and we'll see how this goes. Uh, Maybe you want to keep me company by painting some of your stuff. That would be cool, cause yeah, it's really cool. Just hang out and paint. Feels like the good old days when you used to sit together and paint stuff, huh? All right, so yeah, I do apologize if it's noisy in the background. It's really pouring down outside, which is lovely, lovely summer rain after all this stuff. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know how good I'll be at multitasking, so this is gonna be completely unscripted. I feel like I should talk a little bit about some of the units, and then I'll come back to, and then I'll start painting. Yeah, and then we'll just see how it goes. Um, I think initial reactions of the first couple of games. So the way I handled um, first couple of games is that I set up like an entire 6x4 table, and I had a friend over. He's obviously seen Game of Thrones. He has no prior experience to tabletop war games like Warhammer or anything like that. He plays a lot of board games, but he has no understanding of how such a game would work. So it was a perfect test case, to be honest. Um, so what I did was I set up like like all the units, like for instance, like this. Set up a unit, and then I don't know where the unit card is. Oh, there it is. And then I put down the unit card in front of it. And what I did was, before we did anything, I just quickly explained how movement worked, how defense, how attack, how morale, and then basically said, well, everything you need to know will be on the card, and if you want to make the unit do something it doesn't do, look through the characters. Um, and then I told him the points are on the back, and we're playing like 30 points. And we decided to keep it simple. We just played to the good old like last man standing, like last person that has a figure on the board wins the game. There's none of the missions, none of the objectives, which I really want to get into. A lot of my initial assessments are probably going to be revised a couple of times over because objective wasn't in play. Um, but yeah, so yeah, that allowed easy armor construction without uh, any prior experience with war games, and yeah, everything is on the cards. And as soon like he even won the demo game, and usually, if you're into war games and have taught people that you probably don't play your best game because you want the opponent to be excited. Granted, this was my first game too, and I don't think I was trying to lose on purpose, but I certainly lost by a lot. I was playing Lannisters the entire time, uh, and I got some respect for the Starks that I didn't have prior to this. So that's great. That's very encouraging. I Also do have some revisions on the Lannister supremacy that I thought was going to be too overpowered. Now, this might have been my dice rolling. Actually, it wasn't. I can tell now it wasn't. Uh, well, some of it. Because they do have average morale. The problem with Lannister supremacy is you need to pass through a morale test to trigger it. Or your panic test to trigger it. Which I, for the life of me, could not do at all. Like, I think it triggered it a couple of times, and then the Northman just never. I, he didn't know how big a part morale would play, but he played Eddard Stark in all of the games. So, and he played with the Honor Guard, and I have newfound respect for those guys because they're like there was no point for me to try and even attempt to go for them because you can't modify their morale. Uh, I don't remember all of Eddard's deck, but I feel like he's very strong. He's very strong. He's just a kind of hold the line kind of thing, and the healing of troops near him when he attacks, I believe it is. I can't remember all of it, but I get the general vibe. Granted, this is like week and a half since I played the game, so I can't remember all the details. And I'm just sitting back down to paint some stuff now. Um, yeah, so impressions. Lannister supremacy, not as good as I'd hoped because of the Lannister morale. Um, Lannister halberdiers are extremely good at holding the line, and I cannot pinpoint what it is because you would think, yeah, well, sure, if they do get charged, they get that extra attack, and whoop-de-doo, that's done. Uh, you would think that the Lannister guardsmen are better because they're defensive save. I don't know if it's just the higher number of attack dice on two ranks that does it, but I felt like they held way longer than the other units. Or maybe they're just a deterrent. You don't want to charge into it, and thereby they don't get charged that often. Yeah. What else is there? Knights of Casterly Rock. I only played them one game, and I played them with the mountain attached to them. Um, at the request of my opponent, uh, even. Um, and you could see the morale drain from his eyes. His willingness to play was gone after that game because they charged a unit of Sworn Swords with Brynden Tully in them head on. Even I did not even care to try and flank. I just charged right in, and they basically wiped them out in in one go. I think there's a couple of dudes left, but they certainly disappeared at round two. It's just brutal, and I feel like in the Stark deck or in the Stark arsenal, there's not a whole lot of things that could deal with heavy armor. It has to be done with morale, but it's very hard to outflank cavalry, either as cavalry or as infantry. That was just, and we were trying to like theory craft a little bit, like how could he potentially build an army list to beat it, and what we basically agreed is that I'm never playing that again versus him, and that's just how it is. Now I was actually paying really close attention to one of Michael's podcasts. I think it was just yesterday or 2 days ago, where he did a podcast about problem solving. Uh, and he talked about this. And obviously, they're all focused on, well, if you have a super expensive unit, if you can just keep that occupied, then it won't take objectives. And that's completely true in the missions. That's fine, but yeah, this I do not recommend taking this versus a new player. Do not take knights or flayed men, especially flayed men. Like 2-up saves in a game that doesn't have a lot of volume of dice and they have multiple wounds. Please just unless they specifically requested and like to feel like their attacks do nothing, then sure, go ahead. But otherwise, yeah, save it for more experienced players that can deal with morale or clever tactics or super hardcore outflanking or yeah, yeah. They're certainly good. On the charge, they're fantastic. They're great. Um, because of their better morale, they have a little bit better chance of triggering Lannister supremacy. But yeah, I think they're a solid unit. And honestly, I still stand by like they're 8 points, and that's supposed to be an expensive unit, which is true. But Outriders are 7 points. It's a 1 point of difference. These will I find these infinitely more useful. Granted, I haven't tried all the abilities on the Outriders with the retreating and stuff. Um, there's certainly a use for that, but my playstyle definitely Knights over Outriders if I had the choice. But I'm gonna be playing Starks primarily, so better learn it. So, Crossbowman. Um, I don't know. I I tried them the first game, and as I predicted, they got one shot off, and then they died. Um, because he did what you're not supposed to do. He just charged them headlong, like turn two, with Outriders in the front, and just ran them over, which makes sense thematically, but in terms of how you're supposed to use Outriders, you're not supposed to be able to get away with that. He certainly did. And I don't feel like he did any. I think he played a tactic card or something, but nothing game changing. Um, so that was very impressive. The second game, I made such an effort to have a front line, and like it felt like such a headache to having to try and manage a front line just to allow these people this unit in the army, and they're 6 points. Like I could have just gone with a 5 point guard or halberdier unit and just sat back and be like, I really don't care too much about positioning. Obviously I do, but yeah, they're. I will say though, when they do get a shut off, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I did do one turn, but I feel like his morale, yeah, he rolled abysmal on morale. But so I shot into a unit of sworn swords with Hodor in it, which was a real pain in the ass, by the way. So I shot into that, took down a bunch of them, and then he rolled like double ones or like something like that, something really low, and then almost wiped out the unit in one turn of shooting. But that was down to his very poor morale save. Uh, Nothing else. They're certainly useful, but I'm. I think I would trade any day of the week the sundering that these guys give for all the benefits that the Stark Bowmen have. We didn't play with the Bowmen, but just being able to stand behind a Sworn Sword unit and actually still shoot, where these require direct line of sight, that's an enormous difference in how useful they are for, yeah, like just flexibility. Because on a 4x4 table, as soon as you have like a front line of 3 or 4 units, you can barely make room for them to have a corridor to shoot out of. And if they do, they can't turn. Like it's yeah. I don't know. But Bowmen are definitely my favorite of those two, which is fine by me since I'm gonna be playing with them. And now I kind of regret not buying two of them because I think you can make like you can certainly fit them into your army. They're fine cost, roll a lot of dice. Kranigman Warden would not be a bad choice in there either. Um, yeah, just being able to stand behind units or terrain is. infinitely useful. What else is there? I didn't try the mountain the rides on his own. I really wanted to, but we ran out of time. We got through 3 games. Um, yeah, I'm gonna try him some other time. But he looks to be a beast, obviously. Um, quickly we're gonna run through some other cards while I have it here. I only tried one unit of Boltons because I wanted some infantry, and I already had 2 units of guards and 1 halberdier unit on the table in that game. So I just wanted a massive front line of stuff. So I tried the Bolton Cutthroats, and I thought, okay, these guys are gonna be cheap throwaway unit, and like they're just cannon fodder. They turned out to be really good. I so regret not buying at least another unit of them and being able to play uh, neutral by themselves, because they're super effective. They're a very they're a bit glass cannony, which is fine. But the spike mace ability with being able to like you just jump an opponent while they're busy faffing about on the tactics board, or like wanting to get that really crucial maneuver in with their outriders or something. You go, all right, I sacrificed that flank, but I'm gonna absolutely demolish you on this flank because you chose not to to engage me before I engaged you. They roll a lot of dice. They hit really well, and being able to make them vulnerable and have vicious is just great. It's great. It's one of those units where you don't have to think about too much. Just throw them in there, and the onus is on the opponent to do something about it. Um, and they're a legit threat for 5 points for like bog standard. I do like that. I'm gonna pick up the black guards for sure. I'm almost 100% sure certain that I'm gonna pick up another unit of cutthroats. Did not try the flayed men, but after having played and gone through the mechanics, and I just think they're ridiculous. I know they're 10 points, but a unit of outriders with Brendan Tully, I'm sure is 10 points too. I an objective game, maybe the Outriders will be a better, but Flateman will just yeah, yeah. I'm sure I'll revise that as I have done some of the other things, but yeah, I have to try them, but I'm afraid it's not gonna be against my that friend. It's gonna be against another friend, or let him play them and see if I can figure it out how to beat them. Anyway, let's look at some Starks. So we never got around to playing Sworn Shields. I really wanted to play these, but I didn't play Starks. Um, he didn't consider them during army building because he was going real north heavy, not Riverlands. Um, but afterwards, I showed him the card, and he was like after he understood all the mechanics of the game and had a bit of experience, then he was like, "Wow, they're really good," and he made the connection between those and Brendan Tully as well. Of course, uh, it's a really good unit, I think. Sworn Swords, there are more of a threat than I thought they're gonna be. He did also play them very aggressively, and he always had unit upgrades in them. Where I saved a lot of my points and just have box standard units sometimes because I didn't. I wanted to try and field masses of people instead of quality, and yeah, yeah. Stark Fury is really good. It's a little bit better than I thought it was gonna be. So yeah, I like it. I like it. I'm looking forward to getting a feel for them with me controlling them for sure. Berserkers, they do berserker things. He played them all 3 games. I never managed to kill him. Not for lack of trying though. There was one game I was really close to killing them. Yeah, but he played a lot of he played really well with both the tactics board and Eddard and kept reinforcing them, kept hovering them in the sweet spot. That was really good. He also played quite a bit of Summer because he played Hodor and Bran in all the games. Didn't trigger much of the Brand's Protector, but he was aware of it and he did try. He was always engaged with another unit when that triggered, and I had such a hard time dealing with them. And he was an annoyance for my crossbowmen. Like he just stopped them shooting, and my crossbowman couldn't touch him because of his save. Um, Outriders did it fine. Honestly, he just charged them headlong into stuff, and they did just fine. Even though we're supposed to be ashamed of ourselves if we do that. Uh, I don't feel like he did anything wrong. It's good. If it's a yeah, especially ranged units, something they can't really fight back. Get in there, and then when you get attacked, retreat, or combo it with a some tactic or something. I think you can get away with it in quite a few situations. Um, Sworn swords again. Eddard's Honor Guard. I was conflicted about these, but they're so good. Eddard plus these guys. It's just the rock of the army. Like they seem so unopposing because they're just sworn sword models, but I can get behind it. I'm definitely gonna play it. They're just a solid rock in the army. Just have him in the center so he can reach with his ability, and they're not gonna go anywhere. Yeah, good stats too. Yeah. Well, the only stat that's changed is the armor save, but it does a lot, especially when you're facing a lot of sundering in a Lannister army. Not being reduced too much is good. Outriders again. Greywind never tried, and Bowman never tried, but I'm as close to convinced as I could be that they're a great unit. I feel like I didn't talk about the Mountains Men. I tried them in the first 2 games, and they just got their butts handed to them. They look really menacing in their thick plate armor, but they're super squishy for what they are. Well, not super squishy, but they're don't don't be fooled by how they look. They look like a tanky unit. They're not. And if you have Gregor in there, you're kind of forced to charge, which I think I'll have more success running them without Gregor. And they're a lot cheaper then too, which is sad. I want to run them with Gregor, but yeah, I'm running them with Gregor both times, so I'm gonna have to have another game where I just run them without him. I think it'll be a lot better. Um, they seem okay. Let me bring up their stats real quick. I mean, they did do a lot of damage, but they only ever got one attack off before they're dealt with. Maybe I'm playing them too aggressively. I need to hold them back so they can't attempt to charge and all that, but I don't know. They require more playtime, is what I'm saying. They're not as immediately useful as I thought they were going to be. I thought they were just going to be hey, let's send these guys forward and they'll do something. Maybe there will be. Maybe I just had 2 bad games. I don't remember the rolling of those particular ones. Um, yeah. yeah, so that's a bit of my initial impressions. The game itself, I'm I'm very fond of. I should probably start painting by now, because otherwise I'm just sitting here chatting. I will attempt to do both. um, yeah. So, I should probably talk about commanders and tactics board and stuff. The first game I ran Cersei, and I thought she was gonna be super annoying, but he just kept making his morale saves or had the honor guard, or I can't remember. He had something else that was good for morale too. I think it was some of the tactics cards maybe. It was just really hard to make it feel painful. Like I took a couple units away sometimes, but they came back because of that art. Eventually, anyway. Um, so in game two, I ran Cersei again because we just did a rematch, straight up rematch to see if I made so many mistakes in the first game. It was terrible. Uh, I wanted to redeem myself. I think no, I actually lost the second game too, which is terrible. I made some mistakes again, but not the same ones. At least I'm learning. Um, what else? Yeah, then I ran Tyrion, the commander version, where he's a unit attachment. Ha! That guy's good. Yeah, yeah, he's good. I'm playing him some more. That's for sure. The 5 up to ignore the cards is just great. I caught him a couple of times where he was like about to trigger a combo and just went, nope, nope, you're not. That's great. The first two games I played Jamie as the commander. I was tempted to go Tywin, but figured Jamie was simpler. So he's good. I like the defensive playstyle. He's definitely a contender for the commander type I would go for as Lannisters. Yeah, not too much to say about him because I messed up a lot. A lot. He was really good at avoiding attacking Jamie's unit until game was basically over. Caught all the other units and then all the Jamie specific cards with his enhanced triggers. It just didn't apply to anything. Um, One of my mistakes was definitely not using a lot of tactics card. I was waiting for like the perfect opportunities to play some of the tactics cards, and it just turned out that and my opponent just spammed him. Like every time there was a trigger, he used him, and he got so far ahead doing that. So that's definitely something I need to improve on. I need to be not also because I started with some less than impressive cards on my hand, I felt, and they're gonna keep sitting there until you use them. So just using them and getting them off your hand uh, would be beneficial sometimes too. Yeah. What else did I do? Oh yeah, I have a new favorite NCU um, for the Lannisters. I ran Pycelle as my NCU in game three, and it was absolutely terrible for my opponent. There was that classic Lannister annoyance. Just giving out vulnerable tokens every time. And then if you grab the can't remember which slot it is, the one where you can assign a token to, just like, oh you're weakened and vulnerable. Good luck with that. Yeah, it's really good. I'm I'm playing him some more. I hate his character, but I love his abilities. um, yeah. What else did I play? I played. I didn't use many attachments because I really wanted to just focus on the basics of units and movement and stuff. My opponent spammed, like, he used Hodor. I didn't read all of the abilities on his card. I don't think he used them quite correctly. I think one of the abilities that he kept doing, he needed to actually sacrifice Hodor kind of thing for. But if he did play him correctly, and let's just assume he did, then he's extremely good. And for, I'm gonna say he's like 3 points, maybe 4. You really get a combat boost to a combat unit, and on top of that, you get a wolf. Even if it is 4 points, I'd say he's well worth it. But I have a feeling it's 3 points. So he's great. Yeah. At the moment, I'm really just looking forward to getting a new game in and playing Starks and trying some of the units I really want to. And some of the characters. I really want to try Mage Mormont. I really want to try Bowman. I want to try and see if I can get good at using Outriders the way that they're meant to be played. I want to see if I can make the Starks Sworn Swords feel as powerful as it felt like they were played against me. There's always that bias. It's always like whatever the opponent plays seems stronger than what you have, right? Yeah, just generally getting familiar with the Stark's Tactics deck. I think it's whichever one it is, I think it's the North Remembers. There's one card in there that does, like, you can't play, the opponent can't play. It's both tactics cards and orders. It was so devastating to me because I had set up the perfect, like, ambush where I had everything lined up and I had the cards in order and I was ready to play them. And then he played that, and then my army just broke. Like, it's like the will of it broke because I couldn't do that, which was supposed to be the turning point of it. And he obviously didn't know what my tactics deck looked like. He just played it. And it just ruined me. It's so good. It's one of those cards that seem so unopposing, like, alright, I can't play anything, or I believe it's also orders. It's just devastating when you had a plan in mind, which you need to have as Lannisters. I thought they were gonna be just fine as a combat army, which I still think they are. A lot of the things I'm having second thoughts about terribly. So, yeah. I want to revisit all of it. It's just initial impressions. From my particular point of view, which is obviously both biased and a small sample size of 3 games. And not even proper missions, so I fully understand that I am not an expert on this subject yet. But one day, maybe I will be. Or maybe I'll just be a little bit better. Looking forward to it anyway. How long has this been going on for? What? Okay, I've been rambling for a long time and only painting for a short period of time, which you cannot even see. I'm gonna go out and buy some better equipment for mounting my phone, or just getting a proper camera again. I do have a proper camera, but it's very low res to what we're used to these days, so I'm not even bothering with it. Yeah. So, I guess I can talk a little bit about what I have been painting up. So I have one unit of Outriders sort of painted up. I've only done some of the base, and as you'll see, the banner is broken too. Yeah, it's very hard to show because there are swords in the way. I'll show them later. I have also, in the background, there's a bunch of characters over here that I have made quite a bit of progress on. A lot of them needs a bit of base work and a few more highlights and they'll start to pop. I basically took a lot of the characters that looked like they were gonna be easy-ish to paint. Just started with those because I wanted to get some momentum going. So it felt like I was well into it and making a lot of progress instead of starting with a hard unit and then getting bogged down with it and then never coming back because of the amount of troops I still have to paint. So what I've done so far is I've painted maybe half of the plastic terrain I got. I'll show that maybe in this video, maybe I'll do video when I've sort of established my style and done the base work and like try and put a few units on the table so you can see what it's gonna look like. Yeah, so I've done a lot of the terrain. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's call it 6 characters that are done-ish. Some of them close to it as well. And then I figured the mountainsmen and the bowmen were gonna be rather quick to paint, so I went with those. And yeah, they're gonna be done soonish, although there will be a bit of a break because I'm going away on a holiday where I cannot paint. There's not a lot of man hours left, even though, I mean, those look pretty unfinished, but they won't take long. They won't take long at all. Not in the style I want to paint them anyway. I guess I've also revised my painting or my color scheme recently a little bit. I was starting on a video about when I was painting the Stark Outriders. I don't know if I even uploaded it at this point. I probably haven't, or if I ever will. But yeah, those in that video I basically argued that I'm gonna go for the paint schemes of the TV show because that's gonna be recognizable for people that are not familiar with the game or the books. Gonna be easier to make them interested when they see, for instance, blue and red Boltons instead of pink ones, and you know, stuff like that. Yeah. So if I'm going with that reasoning, I shouldn't have been painting these yellow, right? Because in the TV show, well, obviously he's getting recast quite a bit, the mountain. But there he's just having like Lannister guys under him in Lannister armor. Of course, they never make a point out of showing other houses' men in the TV show when it's from the Westerlands and stuff. But yeah. So making a bit of a compromise, or not. I mean, they're supposed to be like looking like brigands, right? They're supposed to be a bit incognito in that they're just bandits attacking the Riverlands, but we all know they're not. Like before the war proper broke out. But I feel like that's a small representation in a big war where House Clegane's bannermen are all shown up. At least some of them will be wearing like the sigil and the colors of the house that they represent, because that's how it would work on a pitch battle, I assume. So what I'm gonna do with them is they're gonna be yellow, well, as you can see now, but then they're gonna be very faded and very like muddy and dirty and yeah. Like yeah, sure, they wore this at the start of the campaign, like because they're ordered to, but they don't care about washing their clothes or taking care of it. Like if there's some blood or mud on there, it's probably gonna stick. So yeah. Um, I feel like I should proper like it's already 40 minutes long. I'm definitely gonna keep going with painting, but it might look intimidating if it's like a 2 hour long video. No one's ever gonna press it. Not that I mind. I'm really just doing these vlogs for myself. If someone else is motivated, then double yay. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna, when I'm done with this color, I am gonna turn off the video, and that'll be one upload, and then I'll immediately record and probably upload the second one. And if you're into this sort of stuff, you can just keep clicking on part 2 or 3 or whatever. Keep me company, and yeah. Thanks for watching, if you have been watching up until this point. And I hope you got some work done yourself, or learned something, or maybe you have some experiences where it's like, yeah, your experiences are wrong. This and this unit is actually great. You're just rolling terribly or positioning things terribly. Yeah, obviously I can only go with my own experiences so far. So you're welcome to do that. Anyways, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.